What's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the Justin DJ channel. Today, we're coming here with conference preview number 2 with the Big 12 after the ACC. The Big 12 is an interesting conference, right? Picking up quite a few new members this year in Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah from the Pac-12. It's a big conference, right? It's bigger than 12. Um, at least nowadays it is. So there's a lot to go over for the Big 12, and you could say it's the worst of the Power Four. I personally wouldn't. I'd probably go with the ACC. Speaking of the ACC, we already did that conference preview. If you missed that one, check out my channel. Go to recent videos. It's right there. This is coming out literally the day after the ACC preview one, so you can go back and check that one out. But yeah, we're gonna get started. We're gonna go in a different order this time. We're gonna go conference winner last, and we're gonna go with best positions first. So best at each position is how we do this. Go position, best position, ranking the best candidates, best players at that position, and then picking who I think is the best one. We'll start with quarterback. Everyone wants to hear quarterback. Shedeur Sanders for Colorado. Great player. I'm not huge on him as a draft prospect, but as far as college player goes, he's good. Cam Rising, he's a good player. He's an old player, that's for sure, but he got experience. He's been around for a long time. He's shown he can be, productive and win you games. Noah Fafita, young guy, short Kings Rise from Arizona, right? He came onto the scene last year and just absolutely exploded. I mean, he was so good last year. Looking at some other guys like Alan Bowman, and he's been around the conference for a while. Rocco Becht, Baron Morton for Texas Tech, I think is a good player. No longer have Quinn Ewers in the conference. Texas has left the conference. I mean, Cincinnati doesn't have it. Houston doesn't have it. BYU doesn't have it. You can maybe go with KJ Jefferson if you really like, if you like that route. Jalen Daniels from Kansas is really good. You got to see him be healthy. I mean, he's electric when he's on the field, but can he be healthy? So I think my pick is end up going to Noah Fafita. I think what he showed last year at Arizona already has him in that top QB spot in the Big 12. He's such a good player. Coaching change this year. We'll see how he handles that. But if he can kind of be the same guy he was last year, he can get on some draft radars, maybe make a case to be in New York for the Heisman. He'll have to put up insane numbers and lead Arizona to a winning season, another winning season, probably 8 or 9 wins, maybe the playoffs potentially if you have 9 or 10 wins now. But yeah, I'm going with Noah Fafita for my quarterback. Also, if you didn't see the last one, if you noticed me looking down, it's because I have all my notes on my phone. So I can reference the notes. It makes the video easier for all of us. And running back next. So a lot of good running backs in the Big 12. I think it's the most stacked conference as far as running backs go. Obviously, Ollie Gordon, he's the pick, right? He's the best running back probably in the country. Him or Jay Knott, who I'd mentioned last in the ACC. He's probably the best running back in the country. He had an insane year last year for Oklahoma State, helped carry them to a conference championship appearance where they lost to Texas. Other guys though, Corey Kiner for Cincinnati, really productive player, goes under the radar because Cincinnati is terrible right now, and I can say that because they're my school. Taj Brooks for Texas Tech put up great numbers last year. Devin Neal for Kansas as well. They're both really solid and productive players. Should be, once again top of the country in yardage. Then you can look at RJ Harvey and the duo over there for UCF, RJ Harvey and Penny Boone. Boone transferring in from Toledo. Harvey's been there. That's probably the best 1-2 punch in the Big 12. But as far as just best single running back goes, it's Ollie Gordon. For a wide receiver, you can look at the dual threat guy, Travis Hunter, both sides of the ball. You can look at Brendan Presley from Oklahoma State, Dorian Singer, who is at Utah now, formerly at Arizona, I believe. Yes. Yes. No. Singer was at USC. It was Jacob Cowing, who was at Arizona, who's in the league now. Or you can look at who I think is the best one, Teroya McMillan. I think it's Teroya. Some I'm bad with names, guys. McMillan from Arizona also came onto the scene last year. At the same time, Fafita, they kind of fed off each other, dynamic duo there at Arizona. I think they're the best quarterback and the best wide receiver in the conference, and hence why I think they're going to be a very good team. You'll have to wait and see who I think is winning the conference, but I think Arizona is going to be a very good team. At tight end, I really only have one option here. I'm going to go with Brant Quaith from Utah. Another like experienced player from Utah. They seem to churn out just these older players and tight ends as well. I mean, you can Dalton Kincaid a few years back, and now Brant Quaith. But he's going to be my pick for the best tight end. O lineman's a little bit interesting. Luke Kandra from Cincinnati plays offensive guard. And then Jonah, I'm going to butcher this name so bad. Jonah Savayanea from Arizona. Definitely didn't get the name right. Not at all. But I'm going with Luke Kandra from Cincinnati, former Louisville transfer, followed Scott Satterfield to Cincinnati, and he was so good last year. I mean, that was one of the only good parts of our team was the offensive line last year, and Kandra was kind of that anchor. Going with edge rusher here, I think it's going to be Colin Oliver from Oklahoma State. They are kind of known for that defense in recent years. They used to have an offense, right? Spencer Sanders would, put up numbers. Guys like Tylan Wallace was going through that team. But nowadays they don't really score a ton with Alan Bowman at quarterback. So they have to lock up on defense. And Colin Oliver is a really good edge rusher. At defensive line, interior defensive line, we are going with Dante Corleone from Cincinnati. I didn't really have any other options for this because he's simply by far and away the best defensive tackle in the entire country. Such a productive pass rusher as well as good at stopping the run. He can do both, which makes him one of the best, right? A lot of defensive tackles are just space eaters. They'll take up the middle and not let runs get through. They can't really rush the passer. Dante can do both. He's fast, a little bit undersized as far as like draft goes, but college player wise, he's the best defensive tackle in the country. At linebacker, you can get Nick Martin from Oklahoma State, great coverage guy, a solid tackler. Oklahoma State has a really solid front seven this year. They're going to be a force to reckon with in the Big 12 for sure. And at secondary, I think you go with Travis Hunter as well, or you can go with Kobe Bryant from Kansas, who's going to be my pick at corner for the best secondary player in the conference. I think those are just by far the best two. UCF has some guys you can look at. Deshaun Pace, I mean, former Cincinnati guy, he transferred over there. But I do think it's probably going to be Kobe Bryant from Kansas as the best pick, or the best cornerback, sorry, in the Big 12. And now, conference winner, right? Texas Tech is going to be a force for sure. They're a good team. They're getting a good recruiting and transfer class coming in. I think what's being built over there is, a future good team. They kind of remind me of like Missouri, right? Missouri now has kind of seen what Eli Drinkwitz has done in recent years. I think Texas Tech is like in those early stages of what Drinkwitz was doing at Missouri. You can look at UCF, another, hit the portal hard, hit the recruiting hard. They're dishing out money everywhere just to get, recruits and transfers. You can look at Utah, right? Newcomer to the conference. They're projected to maybe win the Pac-12 if that had stayed together. Them or Oregon, probably. If that Pac-12 had stayed together, those would probably be the top picks. You can look at Arizona, another new member, put up really good numbers last year. Their offense was electric. Coaching change could hurt them. They saw their head coach go over to Washington to replace Kalen DeBoer. They picked up a new head coach. The Fresno State head coach, I want to say, went over to Arizona. Fafita and McMillan both stayed, which I thought was a little odd. I thought they were going to follow Jed Fish to Washington, but they stayed, which makes them a contender for the Big 12 title. And as well as Iowa State, I think they're just good at everything. Like they don't really excel in any one thing. But there's a good team. Rocco Becht is a solid quarterback. I still think Matt Campbell over there is a good Matt Campbell, I want to say, is a good head coach. He kind of peaked with those like Breece Hall, Brock Purdy years, but I still think he's a good coach. My eventual pick for the Big 12 is going to be Utah. I just think they're the best team. I think they're the most experienced. I think they're probably the best coached. So yeah, I do think Utah is going to come in year one and win the Big 12. I wish another team could have done that last year, but unfortunately we were terrible. So it didn't happen. But moving on to offensive and defensive player of the year in the conference. Defensive player of the year is tough. I'm probably going to go, even though I didn't pick him as my best secondary player, I'm thinking Travis Hunter could be there just because he plays a ton. He's going to get interceptions. He's going to get highlight plays. And the name factor, right? Dion with Colorado, and he's there, and he was their big guy. I think he could win Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year, this one's probably simple because it's Ollie Gordon. But if you really wanted the dark horse, I wouldn't shy away from Dorian Singer for Utah. I didn't pick him as my best wide receiver, but Utah doesn't really have explosive wide receivers like he does. They're kind of more of a reserved rushing and tight end attack offense, like pro style. However, with a really productive and talented wide receiver in Dorian Singer, I think he has a chance to put up numbers with Cam Rising over there at quarterback. But yeah, that is it for the Big 12 preview. You guys in the comments should let me know who you think is going to win the Big 12, as well as your offensive and defensive Big 12 players of the year. If you think any Big 12 players are going to make it to New York for the Heisman ceremony, I think there's definitely a chance for some of these quarterbacks and some of those running backs to maybe make it over there, get some votes. We'll have to see. But yeah, if you want to see the other conference previews, this one is the second one being uploaded. SEC, Big Ten, and the Group of Five preview will be coming out in the following days. ACC has already been uploaded, so you can check those out. And you want to stick around the channel, so you can check those out. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video.